The land down under has never been easier to reach. United Airlines has more flights between the U.S. and Australia than any other U.S. airline, so you can fly nonstop to destinations like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Explore dazzling cities, savor the very best of Aussie cuisine, and get up close and personal with the wildlife. Who doesn't want to hold a koala? Go to united.com/Australia to book your adventure.
My name is Andrew Stephen Rose. Welcome to the show. For years, I've been known as the gym guy. This show isn't about the gym. Some of it might be, but most of it, it's about business, it's about health, it's about your life, your relationships, and optimizing all of it to be the best you can be. So it's Wednesday, and I typically like to record on Mondays. But I was really struggling to find a topic that I wanted to talk about. A topic that really tugged at me, something that had pull. You know, and it's fairly simple when I have a guest, because the conversation it takes its own form. I can start with questions, and the interview process, so to speak, it will ebb and flow naturally. And truth be told, I don't have to do a lot of thinking. I just prompt, and depending on the guest, they'll just talk. So it makes this process pretty easy. But when I want to record an episode that's just me discussing any particular topic, sometimes I have a hard time really finding what it is I want to bring to you. I'm not full of motivation all the time. I'm not excited all the time. Couple moments of vulnerability there, but that's the truth behind any of us. You know, whether it's someone that you follow on social media that's got 500,000 followers, or someone that has an extraordinarily successful podcast, you know, there are days where they might not want to do it. And that's okay. And then it hit me. I watched a YouTube video. I shouldn't say watched. I listened to a YouTube video while I was on my way here. And it kind of struck a chord with me. And then when I was sitting in the parking lot, I opened up my Instagram, and I had a message from a follower that's been there for a couple months now, and we've interacted quite a bit. And you know, he's not in a position where he can bring me on as a coach now. But like anybody that I come across, if I can provide some sort of value in their life, I'm going to do it, even if they're not paying me. And I think that's an important detail. But he had sent me a message, and it was just, I don't believe in accidents, right? I don't believe that there's an accident in timing. I think everything happens, you know, when you need it to. And it was a perfect example of that, because his words really, they reinforced what I was thinking on my drive in. And to be honest, as I was driving here, I wasn't driving here to record an episode. I was going to do some other work that I needed to do. I was going to check in with all my clients, work on some programming, and you know, create some content for my coaching program. But I couldn't resist the pull, right? It was the two factors of, you know, watching the video that I watched on YouTube, and then the message that I got from one of my followers on Instagram. So you know who you are. Thank you. And I'm going to start by picking up this book. It's Essentialism. It's the book that I'm reading right now. One of the things that I have inside my coaching program, and full transparency, stole it from 75 Hard. It's to read 10 pages a day. Nonfiction. Pick a book that's going to make you a better human. And the quote I'm going to start with is, in order to have focus, we need to escape to focus. Now, there's a couple words here that are italicized. In order to have focus, we need to escape to focus. The word have and the word to are the ones that are italicized. In order to have focus, we need to escape to focus. So over the last couple of weeks, my motivation has been in the shitter. At times felt overwhelmed. At times just haven't felt motivated. And trying to build and expand my coaching business and create content and create podcasts that are beneficial to the people that are listening to them or that are watching them, it sounds like an easy task. But I'm no different than you, no different than anybody else. There are times where I'm struggling. And I was sitting at home. I trained early this morning. I went home, made some food, and I sat down, and I started to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. And I started to consume. And what I mean by that is I started to start doom scrolling, whatever you want to call it. I had my phone, and I'm just kind of scrolling through Instagram and not really being attentive to anything. It was just sort of ticking off the box, so to speak. And the same thing, you go into the YouTube rabbit hole and you just watch a video here and a video there, and pretty soon an hour goes by. And then if you expand it, right, and this has happened to me, is if I'm not feeling motivated, I'm like, well, maybe I just need a break. I'm going to jump on Netflix and watch an episode of whatever series. And I found myself within the last week, I started watching a series that I've watched before. It's entertaining. Prison Break. But I've already seen it. It's like 5 seasons long. And I'll watch an episode, watch another episode. And I'm hoping that at the end of an episode, I'll find the motivation to actually do what I need to do. And it sort of punched me in the face today of, the things that are distracting me from focusing, right? The things that I need to escape from. In order to have focus, I need to escape whatever it is that I want to focus on. So, for you is to ask yourself what it is that you're focusing on. Are you focusing on building your business? Are you focusing on transforming your health? Are you trying to look better, feel better, eat better? Those of you who I have the privilege of coaching, obviously you're here to improve your physical well-being, but also your mental well-being. And maybe it's you want to improve your relationship, your relationship with your kids, whatever it might be. A lot of times the path to fulfilling that desire is long and convoluted and overwhelming. Personally, when I get overwhelmed, I freeze. And then I get nothing done. The work piles up, and I just click on another episode to escape from it. Maybe I'll find the motivation at the end of this next episode, and pretty soon it's 4, 5, 6 episodes. You're 4 or 5 hours in. maybe more. Where that becomes an issue is when it starts to bleed into the other areas of your life. Your goals are your goals. We all have them. I have some very specific goals that I want to accomplish over the next few months. It's almost the end of August now. We only have a few months left in the year. There's a lot that I want to get done before the clock strikes midnight on December 31st. And because it's such a daunting task, because it's an overwhelming amount of things, and you may find yourself in the same light, you set goals that are extraordinarily high, things that you want to accomplish, a lifestyle that you want to attain, a physique that you want to have, a level of financial stability that you want to have, a level of intimacy with your partner that you want to have. The most important thing in this moment that I can get across to you is really me trying to get it across to myself. Let's be honest. Is taking stock of the things in your life that are distracting you from the goal. What are you consuming that is keeping you from attaining the level that you're trying to get to? When it comes to nutrition and training, this is an easy answer. Okay, what are the things that I'm doing that are keeping me from having a six-pack, or keeping me from lowering my blood pressure, or keeping me from having a smaller pant size? Those things are easy. They're black and white. And the solution is pretty simple. But for some people, myself included, maybe you, there are things that are kind of gray that might be consuming your time, that are pulling you farther and farther away from where it is you want to get to. It's pretty simple. Mine, in this moment, in this season, when I find myself in an overwhelmed state, it's actually a couple of things. Anything that you allow in your life that acts as a numbing agent, so to speak. I don't do drugs. I have. That's a story for a different day. But that's not a place that I'll turn at this point in my life. Alcohol. Those of you who do know me know that I don't drink a lot. I don't consume a lot of alcohol. I don't like the way it makes me feel. But even a couple of drinks here and there tends to numb us from the reality. It's an escape. There's that word again. Netflix. So my solution, right, and what I will have to do is delete it. Deactivate my account. Take it off all my devices. I don't need it. I have it on my TV, but I never turn my TV on. So I'll watch it on a tablet or on my phone or wherever. But to escape that, and it's one of those things where the more times you do it, the harder it is to let go of. The more times you eat a jar of Nutella, the harder it is to not put the Nutella in your shopping cart, because it gives us an immediate sensation of happiness or whatever, right? It's that euphoria. It's that dopamine. So Netflix, to me, I can't watch it and then let it go. If I'm on my own, right? If I'm just sitting in my apartment or in my office and I want to distract myself or whatever, it's not going to help. It's only going to make things worse. So my question for you is, what is your Netflix? What is that thing in your life that's distracting you unknowingly, that's numbing you unknowingly, that's keeping you from becoming laser focused on what it is you want to accomplish? Maybe it's food. It can be anything. Once you're able to refine your nutrition to a point where you don't even have those things in your house that make you feel like shit after you've eaten them, but they make you feel good in the moment when you eat them. Again, give me a jar of Nutella, right? The first couple spoons are great, but if you find yourself digging through the bottom, right? And think about those things that you've thrown out in your life, both literally and metaphorically. Things that you have gotten rid of, things that you've removed from your space. The moments immediately after doing that, how do you feel? How tempted are you to go over to your email inbox and go, let me reactivate that real quick? Or maybe it was food related, right? You threw something out. You threw out a bag of chips, or you threw out the snacks that you don't want to have in your life. Have you been tempted to go and pull them back out? Just one more. Just one more. Just one more time. Just one more episode. Whatever those things are, they're going to continue to derail you. And it's one of the hardest things to admit, personally, and most likely for you too. One of the hardest things to admit is the things that are going to keep you trapped, the things that are going to keep you from truly focusing on the goals that you want to accomplish. They're meant to sidetrack you. It's that immediate gratification. It is difficult to change patterns in your behavior. It is difficult to change patterns in your eating. It is difficult to change patterns in how you work or how you communicate with your spouse or your partner. But revisiting the same pathways, and I've been down this road before. Thankfully, at this point in my life, I can narrow it down to Netflix and YouTube and scrolling on the internet and things like that. They're not deadly, so to speak. But maybe yours is alcohol. Maybe yours is you just like to do a little bit of cocaine on the weekends. It's never just the weekend. You also have to ask yourself how you feel in the minutes, hours, and days after that, right? So after I've watched a third or fourth episode of something on Netflix in a row and I shut my laptop, how do I feel in that moment? I feel like garbage. I feel like a failure. And then I'm even deeper in the hole now. So maybe you're trying to change your health, right? Your training, your nutrition, and you had a bad weekend. You had a tough week. And this is why I don't believe in the word cheat meal. Because it becomes I've earned this. I had a rough week. I deserve this. And then whatever that food is or whatever those drinks are, you go and you reward yourself for a job not well done. And unfortunately, you're addicted to them in one way or another. You're addicted to social media, or you're addicted to shitty food. You're addicted to porn. So instead of eliminating the things that are causing you pain in the long run, while they're giving you gratification in the moment, numbing in the moment, escaping in the moment, ultimately they're going to keep you trapped more and more. So the hardest thing to do and the most terrifying thing to do is to call it out. What is the thing that is keeping me trapped? Is it a relationship? Is it a habit when it comes to the internet or social media? Is it how you approach nutrition, training? Is it something that if you were to make a huge jump, while painful, is it something that would ultimately improve your life? And I reference the end of the year because it's pretty close. Is it something that if you removed from your presence, or you stopped giving your attention to, your time, would it allow you to improve your life to the point where you are accomplishing the goals that you set out to accomplish? Because maybe back at the beginning of 2024 in January, you set some goals. I'm not a New Year's resolution guy, never will be. The reason that most people fail is the habits that are needed to truly transform the person aren't there yet. When we look at, I'll use semaglutide as a reference point. And if you don't know what that is a medication that wasn't originally designed for this purpose, but it's extraordinarily effective in triggering weight loss. And when I say it's effective, it works. If you use semaglutide, you will lose weight. It's foolproof, right? Take this, get this. However, the underlying habits that caused you to be obese in the first place are still there. So the moment you take that away, the moment you take semaglutide away, it's not meant to be taken permanently. But the moment you no longer take it, those habits that you have, they're still there. Those triggers are still there. So if you haven't taken the action to remove yourself from them or remove them from your life, to change your habits, they're going to come right back. Now, you can apply that to any area of your life, not just nutrition and your health. Your relationships. Maybe you find yourself in the same type of relationship again and again, and you might be in one right now. You know you're in one, and you know it's not healthy. But the hardest thing to do is to remove yourself from it. Because even though things that we know are not healthy for us, or are not good for our mental health or physical well-being, they feel good in the moment. So we don't want to be uncomfortable and not have that feeling. But I can assure you of this. If you take that first step, that hardest step of identifying whatever it is that is holding you back, identifying whatever it is that is stealing your focus, when you can do that and then follow it immediately by readjusting your focus, by eliminating whatever that thing is, removing it from your environment. At first, it's going to hurt. It's uncomfortable. The easiest thing to do is to turn around and go back in the direction that you came from. But if you don't give yourself that option, if you eliminate the distraction, eliminate the unhealthy element, and make a commitment to yourself daily to not revisit it, to not allow it in, to not give it room to breathe. The only way to put out a fire is to starve it of oxygen. You might think you just spray water on it, it goes out. It's not that simple. A fire that has no oxygen cannot thrive. It will die out. What is it in your life that is stealing oxygen? What is it in your life that if you starve of oxygen, and when I mean oxygen, it's attention. I don't literally mean oxygen per se. What is it that if you starve of oxygen, you will thrive? It might not be today, tomorrow, next week, or next month. But identify where you are and where you want to be. And take a hard, honest look at the things that are keeping you from getting there. This ties into an earlier episode about accountability. This is me giving you a prime example of what I mean by radical accountability. I want to be in a certain place. You want to be in a certain place. You want to have a certain experience. There are things in the way that are in my control. There are things in the way that are in your control. I can blame no one else but me. No one forces me to watch Netflix. Now, if I decide to watch Netflix with some friends, that's fine. That's different. That's healthy. It's just socializing. But if I find myself doing these things when I'm alone, when I should be doing other things, when I should be reading or writing or creating content or communicating with my clients and my athletes, building my business, when I find myself giving oxygen to the things that are not producing the outcome that I want, it's on me. So my thoughts for you today, and I'm thankful, again, I'm so thankful that the message came through when it did, because it really hammered home the point that I needed to make. And it lit a fire under my ass. Because ultimately, while there may be people that are counting on you, family, spouse, partner, employees, friends, the most important person that's counting on you is you. When I talk about securing your own mask first, what help am I to other people if I can't take care of my own shit? How can I help other people become better if I don't know how to handle my own shit? If I don't take care of my own priorities first? Because they're always going to be there. Those habits will always be there. The vices will always be there. So identify what they are. Write them down. Maybe even make a pro and con list. Does this add to my life? Does it take from my life? The things that bring value to your life you want to keep. the things that do not inherently provide value in your life, they need to be cleared out to make space for the things that do hold value. So creating that space to focus, has to come from eliminating the things that are not going to produce positive outcomes in your life. That's people, it's places, it's things, it's actions, or inactions. Only you know what those are. I can tell you what mine are, but that doesn't matter. That only matters to me. So get out a piece of paper and write it down. Make a pro and con list. Is it worth my oxygen? Or is it not? Do I give it oxygen or do I starve it? And when you can start to do that on a consistent basis and you can execute on that day in and day out, that's when your outcomes will change. Love you guys. Have an awesome day.